Hello world, welcome or welcome back. I am Goddess Dawn. It is Sunday, March 24th, 2019. Thank you for being here. I'm back with another video. Not totally about R. Kelly, but more so about what's going on in Chicago. Let's get into it. I want to start with R. Kelly so I can get him out the way. But before I go there, I just got home from seeing the movie Us, which I do highly recommend. I was clenched up the whole ride. It was awesome. Jordan Peele is literally making us afraid of our own shadows. But enough on that. I'm here to talk to you about the shenanigans going on in Chicago and Chicago itself. There's so much going on in this crazy ass city. I thought I'd highlight it. I really was going to just do a reading, which I did pull some cards, which I will discuss. But I just want to kind of go through a couple of things before we get to the cards. So unless you're living on an alternate universe, you're aware of the R. Kelly and the Jussie Smollett indictments that were handed down within weeks of each other. Two high-profile cases involving Black entertainers. This is something you don't see every day. Very, very unsettling. They are obviously two separate situations. R. Kelly, in my opinion, he brought all of these things down onto himself, as did his enablers. However, it seems to have just taken over the city. When I think Chicago, I used to think, and I hate to say this, but the gang shootings, that's all you would hear about. I'm from LA, so, and it's, this is not the Hollywood you guys might think it is. This is definitely not that. But when you hear Chicago, like, that's typically what I think about. And of course, Barack Obama being from Chicago and Michelle Obama, especially during their height in the office, I would also connect them with Chicago. So there's a two-headed coin when it comes to Chicago. And as with most other places and people, there's two sides. But right now we're really seeing the ass. Everything that's been bubbling is pouring out. The tea is spilling everywhere. So R. Kelly was back in front of the judge this past Friday. His attorneys were looking to get their hands on that sex tape listed in the indictment, but it didn't happen. Prosecutors said they'd make it available at a later date, but they didn't want to make a copy because of the nature of the tape, which it would be considered child pornography. And the judge agreed with the prosecutors and said he'd address it at a later date. The prosecutors are clearly stalling, and this is not unusual when it comes to cases where the evidence can be, plotted around. The less time the defense has to build their case around the evidence, the better. So people are questioning whether or not there's a case because of these stall tactics, but don't be so naive. These stall tactics are typical. It's just how they play the game. The other thing that was discussed in court was the request for Kelly to travel to Dubai. Kelly's attorney Greenberg, took the request off the table for now. He stated he wanted to bring more solidified information, meaning contracts, etc. Seems that the information that was provided initially was pretty vague. It was a 5-page order that was submitted to the judge and didn't have dates, didn't have dollar amounts listed. So he's coming back and he's going to have all these things in place so that they have a stronger case to get this guy out and working again. They want to get paid. I'm pretty sure that they would probably be better off also if R. Kelly got his bags. His entertainment attorney was also present. He seems to be a newly appointed attorney, maybe or maybe not by Greenberg. He did allude to Greenberg being in charge. So yeah, it seems that they're going to just dump a folder of all these performance requests and contracts onto the judge, bury the judge in all these requests and contracts. I mean, these things can be from anybody. It could be a birthday party. Anyway, the judge is going to rule on that at a later date. And according to the attorney, he didn't seem bothered by it. Oh, it'll happen. If it's not in April, it'll be May or June. It's not a big deal. But I thought he was like desperate to work. They are due back in court May 7th. And this was actually Kelly's attorney Greenberg's suggestion. The judge obliged. Cameras will be allowed. So there will be a live stream. So right after court, the PR guy stayed behind to talk to reporters.
Why not let the Savages and also the Clearys set up that meeting with your daughters? What does that have to do with what we are today? Well, it's relevant because they're saying that you were supposed to orchestrate a meeting with them and that hasn't happened. So how do you know that? How do you know what has been set up already? They said that it has not been set up. The family. Okay. Are you willing to address that or not?
This guy had some choice words for the media when he was asked about the meeting with the parents, the Savages and the Clarys. His demeanor and the way he answers questions is just very unprofessional. I'm not vibing this guy, which he's not for me to vibe. So, did you hear how he was speaking to her? This is that reporter, Tia Ewing, I believe. She covers everything R. Kelly. And I believe she has a Twitter, and she is in Chicago, and she reports from the scene for the most part. So she's a pretty reliable source. And, he's just ridiculous. But I think that's where we're at with regards to his court case at this time. I did get another piece of information regarding his New York case. It seems that this case is the case with Faith Rogers, who's suing R. Kelly. She met him when she was 19. She said he gave her herpes. She is accusing him of sexually assaulting her in an aggravated manner. And, she was with him for a long time, I think a year. But with regard to her case, it seems that her attorney had to postpone the pretrial hearing, which was due to take place on Tuesday of this week. R. Kelly and his attorney were required to be there, but in a turn of events, her attorney, Lydia Agu, was convicted on federal obstruction charges and is facing 40 years in prison. Now, this is not all over the news. I found this story, but it was pretty buried. So I don't know. I just find it interesting that this timing of her charges came down right at the time R. Kelly was supposed to go to the hearing. It was right before. The New York trial has since been delayed, and she will be given time to find another lawyer. And I can't leave out Andrea and the kids. They're going to be starring on Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. She has to pay her bills, right? So she got some of her child support, but how else is she living? Their oldest daughter, Joanne, I believe. Oh, no, I think she goes by Buki. She says she does not want to talk about her father on that show. Andrea Kelly is no stranger to reality shows, and the timing of it is probably not the greatest. It's actually great for TV. But I don't see how I guess she has to make a living, though. I'm going to just stick to that. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. This is not even real. I can't fathom. It's just unreal. Which brings me to my next topic. Jussie Smollett and Company. And I say and company because it's not Jussie Smollett and Jussie Smollett alone who's involved in this caper. He's currently awaiting court on April 17th, and that's where we're at. The trial will be televised. All of his court dates, I believe, will be televised. His attorneys say that he wants the evidence or lack thereof to be publicized. He's facing 16 felony counts for lying the same lie to police. Doesn't make sense at all. The counts are all the same statement. So it's as if he was repeating himself. And every time he repeated, if they ask you, okay, can you tell me again how this happened? Tell me about the situation, or however they ask. I went through the indictments. It looks like they just copied and pasted the same charge. Or what I find interesting is that the letter, which wasn't even made public until, or wasn't made a big deal out of until the attack was reported, a letter was sent to Cinespace Studios where Empire is filmed. And it was a threatening letter calling Jussie the N word and the F word. And it was pasted magazine cutouts. And then the writing on the envelope looked like a child had written it, or somebody who wrote it with, whatever hand they're not used to writing with. That's what it looks like. The feds are supposedly still looking into the letter. They subpoenaed some people. They've collected evidence from those brothers who were the suspects in the first place. They collected magazines, which in some sources report that there were cutouts in those magazines. But in other sources, it just says they collected magazines as well as stamps from the homes of the brothers, or the home. I believe they live in the same home. So nothing has really come out about that. I'm just confused. Why is there only one defendant in this case when there are 3 people who were involved? When they talked to the police as suspects, by the end of the day, they were no longer suspects. Their attorney did stress that they did not swap their confession for any type of immunity. And if that is the case, the letter is a crime, and they were on video buying the items for the hoax. They were clearly involved. They were on camera walking down the street around the time of the quote unquote attack. There are a lot of things that put them there, but yet Jussie is the one who walks away with 16 indictments, while they haven't seemingly gotten any type of consequence for their part, even though they quote unquote confessed. We don't know at this point whether or not what they're saying, this hasn't gone to court yet, right? I'm not saying Jussie is innocent by any means. What I'm saying is that he is not in it alone. That $3,500 check that he supposedly paid them to do the quote unquote favor, which was to do the hoax attack, that is a crime. He did not pay them for that. I do believe that he paid for training, which was stated on the check, as well as text messages were showing also the diet plan that they had in mind and the type of food he wanted him to buy. I believe only one of the brothers is the trainer. The other brother, I believe, was the extra on Empire. So they have 2 different roles in this. There's also obvious comfortability between Lee Daniels and the brothers. Also, Jussie and the brothers do have a relationship at work and not at work. So it just doesn't make sense as to why they haven't been charged, because clearly all 3 of them were involved at face value. But I'm going to go beyond that because you just have to. Lee Daniels, the puppet master. Do you really think anyone is going to do anything on this magnitude, prank, hoax, or otherwise, with regard to Empire, without Lee Daniels having any idea of it? Absolutely not. This is my theory. Lee Daniels is behind the whole shebang. Here's what he had to say just a couple days ago.
Hi, gang. I'm back. Oh my God, these past couple of weeks have been a freaking roller coaster. We have, me and my cast have experienced pain and anger and sadness and frustration, and really don't know how to deal with it, And because it happened, everything has happened, which you are seeing tonight, prior to the incident. And this is not what the show was made for. The show was made to bring America together, to talk about the atrocities that are happening right now in the streets. So anyway, both shows are on tonight, Star and Empire. They're incredible. Wow.
So I believe that this was just something that backfired. I do believe it was staged. I do believe Jussie, was involved. There was questionability on my end whether or not he knew, but I do believe he was involved. I feel like afterward, when the police were asking for his phone and he didn't want to give up his phone, I think it's because he called Lee Daniels first. He did not want the police to know that. Why would you call Lee Daniels before anybody in a situation like that? Unless Lee Daniels was the one behind the whole thing. He had to call Lee Daniels to let him know that it's done. What effed them all up was getting the two guys on camera. The two brothers weren't caught on camera. This thing might have worked. I think what they wanted to get out of it at the end of the day was to raise Jussie's profile as an activist, as a leading man type, a superhero, as Lee Daniels would call him. And Lee Daniels would be behind him as the puppet master, manager, person behind the scenes who makes it all happen for him. In my research, I came across an article in Out magazine, and it did highlight some things that I found very interesting. This was back in 2016, January, when Empire was only 1 year old. They were interviewing Jussie at Swiss Beats studio. Lee Daniels they said, happened to be there. In the article, Smollett is very open about the fact that he is out here fighting for gay rights, out here fighting against police brutality. He's fighting for his rights as a Black man also. And he says he was groomed to do so by his family because they are also activists. He has a sister in the business who you guys probably know, Jussie Smollett. And she is also very vocal about causes. They, as a family, very talented. They're a big family also. The article is rich with talk about his aspirations as well as things that he's accomplished during his time on Empire. He had grown up as a working actor, a child actor in, little parts on different little Disney things or what have you. But he got on Empire and it really solidified him in the game, also giving him a bigger platform for his music. He's put out, I believe, 6 singles so far through the show. I'm not sure, how it's received. I mean, I feel like he's a talented kid, but by the end of it, this is what he had to say. I absolutely, with everything in my heart, I swear to you, that believe that at people's core, they want to be good. And I will cry about it because I believe it so much, Smollett says. I don't believe that we were created to hate. I believe that we were created only to love. Love is the root of happiness, of times, and of wars. Love or lack of love, but love is the root of everything. So a man who feels this way about love and is just about being good and all of that is not going to do this type of a thing. The people who are really upset about it are the people who were being targeted as the perpetrators, where the MAGA people in the red hats, the Trump supporters. Those are the people who want Jussie to be hung. I see from when I read the comments and things, because they feel like, oh, if this had been pulled off, it would have been them who would have been looked at as the perpetrators of this hate crime or these hate crimes. But personally, I just feel it was to raise Jussie's visibility and I honestly don't believe that it may not happen still. I do still feel that the hoax goes beyond Jussie. It could possibly even go beyond Lee Daniels. I'm not really surprised if the police, Chicago PD, would be involved. If R. Kelly can have them on the payroll, why wouldn't Lee Daniels be able to do so, or Fox or Empire? Money talks. And there's a lot of money on the line. There's reports that the show is even worse off in the ratings than it ever was, even though last year they were talking about whether or not it was even going to come back. So we don't know if it's because of this stuff that's going on with Jussie Smollett, or whether or not it just was on the decline in general. And this is why they were pulling this stunt also, is to raise the ratings. And it was supposed to basically be a cure-all for the ratings for Empire and Star, as well as Jussie's career. And then obviously Lee Daniels, now he's a real player in the game. And I think he just taken this too far. His head has gotten too big, and he felt like he could pull something like this off. I feel like Jussie's just a fall guy as far as all the blame. And he's taking it because I feel like at the end of the day, he's going to be able to get out of this. Jussie is or was on some committee for Michelle Obama, one of her initiatives. I'm not clear on that. But just to say that there are ties to high places. And I don't know that this thing is that serious of a matter. I know it's a heinous thing. It just, is a really bad look for him. And I'm not going to say that was a bad look for us, because I'm not one that feels like somebody doing something is going to just be a strike on the whole Black community or a gay community or whatever. I feel like it's an individual situation or a group situation, but it's not going to fall on me. So I don't have a problem saying that. So Michelle Obama's former chief of staff is why they're now wanting to have the FBI look into Kim Foxx. Kim Foxx is the current Cook County state attorney. And this was when Smollett was still being considered the victim. And the family was concerned, I think, of the Chicago police. And the family contacted Kim Foxx through this former chief of staff of Michelle Obama's. And eventually that chief of staff, the former chief of staff, pulled out of the conversation and connected this person so that she and Kim Foxx were able to communicate one-on-one. And when they were doing so, they were requesting that the feds take over. They just didn't want Chicago PD to handle the case or mishandle the case. I feel like that's why Chicago PD was so pissed off, because they felt slighted. Like, how are you going to just try to jump over us and go behind the scenes into this new state attorney? And with saying that, this new state attorney has enemies behind the scenes. There's a mayoral race. It's hard for me to say that. There is a mayoral race in the works. This also has an effect on what's happening behind the scenes with this new federal probe into Kim Foxx. Politics are heavy duty. There's a lot of money involved. And I know Chicago, with all of its history of the mob and the crooked police and all the things that have happened over time in Chicago, the current mayoral race is two Black women, one of them gay, I believe, openly gay. But these two women are going head to head, and they are fighting behind the scenes. Kim Foxx is involved. One of them is a supporter of Kim Foxx's. So the other one, any move Kim Foxx makes, this one is putting something in the media or trying to derail her in some type of way. They want to get their own people in that office. And I believe the former state attorney is one of those rivals. So all that's saying that all of this stuff is, I think, in some way connected with the politics and, the people who are behind the scenes and pulling the strings. With regard to the Jussie Smollett case, we won't know until we see this play out in court. But I do feel that this is not going to give him any jail time. He has had no prior offenses. He is a high profile person. I don't see that he's going to do any jail time. But I do feel like the humiliation ritual is also at play here. Just like I said with Jordan Woods, who was Kylie Jenner's best friend until she supposedly had a little tryst with Tristan Thompson, Khloe's baby daddy. she also went through a humiliation ritual with that whole situation. And she's popping now. She got deals, international, domestic. Everybody's buying her products because they're riding for her against the Kardashians. She couldn't be in a better place business wise. But Jussie, same thing. I don't want to say predict, but I will say that I feel he will do bigger and better things down the line. It may not happen right away, but I feel like he will do bigger and better things. Lee Daniels, as you heard him say, he has an idea of the type of things he wants to address through the show, which is race relations, obviously the LGBTQ campaign. He is openly gay also, and it is also rumored that he and Jussie used to date. Not that that has anything to do with this, but it has to do with the fact that they have a close knit relationship. Whether or not they dated are obviously are very close. So I don't know. Who knows what really goes through people's minds when they're plotting how to get more and how to, raise their profile. I just suggest you raise your vibration and raise that spirit from within and stop trying to like go grab bagging everything out here in this world that's physical and that's material, because those things are perishable. Those things are not anything you can take with you. Whether or not you are aware, we've had 3 supermoons already in 2019 and it's only March. And with that being said, this is said to be biblical in terms of end days. So, it's humanity that's really at stake. I think if you watch that movie, Us, that is actually also what I got out of that movie, is about humanity. And, that is very precious and that we really do have it made. We're able to, go outside and breathe the air and soak up the sun and, just really reap the resources that God has provided for us here. And, the term it's God given is, sounds cliche, but it really is out here. It's just God given. We can go out here without anyone bothering us. We should be able to. We can go, to the beach or to a park or, whatever it is, and enjoy nature, go hiking. But one day it may not be that way. It may not be so easy and free. It may not just be a one for all situation. There are a lot of things happening behind the scenes. You got to pay attention. That's why this media is so distracting with these things that I am a part of. I'm really just here also to just give, some other insight and to talk to you about what I'm talking to you now about, which is the importance of your freedom and, just like I said, your humanity, just being able to be human and be out here and move around and without any restrictions. As it stands, there's already an imposition of that real ID card. Some states it's already mandatory, but here in California, as of I believe January 2020, it's going to be mandatory. It is available now. And the real ID card is what everyone will need in order to travel out of your state. You will not be able to travel nationally if you do not have this real ID. And this is not even an international. You still have to have your passport to travel internationally. So there's going to be your passport for international travel, the real ID for state to state travel within the national region. So just a heads up, so you will be ahead of the game and not behind it. You rather have those things in play rather than get stopped somewhere and be told you can't go somewhere because you don't have the proper documentation or ID. This is going to be able to keep you contained. So the less privileges you have, the better for their agenda. I'm just letting you know. Don't shoot the messenger. If you don't believe it, then just keep doing you. But when that time comes, remember me. That's going to just lead me right into Chicago itself. I did pull some tarot cards. But before I do that, I just want to also address there's a trend of murders in Chicago with not only Black women, but also transgenders. There have been a string of murders. I don't know why the same resources aren't spent on a Jussie Smollett versus a little unnamed boy who was shot in a drive-by, and he was innocent. I don't know why Jussie Smollett's hoax, which no one was hurt, um, there was any violence. I have a video I'm gonna add. I'm gonna throw this video up, and this person supposedly has the behind the scenes on what really happened with Jussie's attack. I don't know how true it is or not, but I found it interesting because it really does align with what my thoughts are on this situation. So I don't know how many of you watch Armand Wiggins. He's hilarious. I'm gonna throw up this clip and then come back.
Let me first tell you this. Jussie, you first of all, you can ask me any question you want to ask me. Now, the main thing is this. You were saying you want to know the motive, the reason why. I will tell you this. The man behind all of this, as you already know, is Lee Daniels. However, Lee Daniels chose Jussie as the fall guy because Jussie is the most popular out of the whole cast. Jussie has been on The View. Jussie has been on Rachel Ray. Jussie is even part of Michelle Obama's Get Fit campaign. So Lee Daniels knows Jussie is the most likable. However, it did fail because Jussie is working out with two of those brothers, Nigerian brothers, but it's not just Jussie involved. Unfortunately, Taraji P., I'm sorry, come to the front of the line. She too is involved. Terrence Howard, come to the front of the line. All of them know about this. Now, some tea I'm going to drop on you is that Jussie was never physically beat up. You saw his face, that was makeup. Secondly, Jussie had 2 objects stuffed in each cheek. He was never attacked. He had a makeup job right after the 2 Nigerian brothers, quote unquote, met up with him to attack him. He had a makeup job done, and he had a makeup artist put objects in each cheek. So the attack never even happened. Another thing is that when the Chicago police went to the 2 Nigerian brothers' home, they found a magazine with letters ripped out and cut out. I could not even get myself to believe that Jussie would do that, but Jussie and Lee Daniels sent a threatening letter to Fox 5 News. They sent it themselves.
Okay.
Now,
we have to say allegedly, though, because we have about 1,200 people watching, bitch, and I can't have them take my channel down because they don't even upload my videos right after. So this is all alleged.
Fine. No, you're right. Okay, allegedly, Lee Daniels and Jussie Smollett sent a threatening letter with the F word, guy, N-word, this, to Fox 5. It was allegedly Lee Daniels. And the reason why this happened is because Lee Daniels, I'm sorry, I have done some work indirectly, but Lee Daniels, honey, you're very, very, very slimy. That's why Dame Dash got in your face and said, you owe me $2 million on camera.
Okay.
And Lee Daniels did not know what to say, but Lee Daniels is right now at the top of Black Hollywood, and he's doing whatever he can to stay on top. And what I will say with the Nigerian brothers, shame on you to those Nigerian brothers, because I'm Nigerian, and people saying stupid things like, oh, well, they don't have an accent. You don't have to have an African accent just if you were born in Africa. I was not born in Africa, and I can do a very thick Nigerian accent if I want to. I can put it on and turn it off. So I know we have to be smarter than that. But Jussie was never attacked. I'm sorry, it's hard to say alleged for that because he was not attacked. I know. He was not attacked. I have a friend that works on the cast. He was not attacked. Jussie, it's a makeup job, and he had something in his cheeks. Taraji P. Henson, the cast, Terrence Howard, they're all involved. They are all involved, all of them.
Hold on,
so
let me pull up that picture. Keep talking while I pull up the picture.
Okay, if you look at the picture, even if you see him 2 days after that, it was all gone. I've seen better makeup jobs, but I have a friend that works on the cast, and I know. So what I will also say is that those two Nigerian brothers, shame on you, first of all, being smutted out and slutted out by Lee Daniels and Jussie Smollett. Shame on you, first of all. Those two brothers, they're Yoruba. That's the tribe that they're part of. That's the Yoruba tribe. These two brothers will do anything for money, sleeping with Lee Daniels, sleeping with Jussie Smollett. Guys, come
Wait
on.
a minute. So what are you alleging that the two brothers are sleeping with Jussie Smollett and Lee Daniels?
Yes. Yes. First of all, Armand, would I lie to you? I would not lie to you, Armand. And it's very shameful. I better not catch both of them, Ola and Abel. I better not catch both of them out in the Nigerian community with women trying to get married, because your spot will be blown. Don't even, if you guys want fame to that degree, fine. But when you flew to Nigeria the same day this alleged attack happened, you should have stayed there, because you came right back and the police were waiting for you at O'Hare Airport at Chicago, okay? And that's why you spilled the beans, because you're not going to disgrace your Nigerian family, because Nigerian parents, they don't play. So I knew you came out and had to tell the truth. Jussie paid you guys some money and told you he'd pay you guys the rest when everything blew over. Lee Daniels is the one who put all of this together.
But
you
why?
guys are messing with Lee. Because the ratings of Empire and Star, both of Lee Daniels' shows, Star and Empire, both of them are dropping severely. So the reason they chose Jussie, knowing Jussie's the most likable, everybody will feel bad. There's a lot of racial tension going on. And unfortunately, Lee Daniels is not that smart, because he's writing this like he's writing a story on Empire.
Yes,
Jussie,
and it seems just like a story out of Empire. And then, you know, it's also why I kind of like, it's like, okay, I do believe you, because a piece of this, when the brothers were speaking out, the brother actually said he's not sure how Jussie got the scratch on his face, because in TMZ's reporting, he said that he didn't even hit him that hard. It was a weak hit. So he's not sure where Jussie got the scratch from.
But you know what, though? I've been trying to call you over the whole week. I did that even before TMZ released it. But now bits and pieces are starting to come out. The brothers barely even touched Jussie. Jussie, no offense, I'm sorry, Jussie, you fucked both of them, okay? You don't even want them to hit you. So they went up to you, made it look like it was a little scuffle. None of them even touched your face. And then they said, okay, we good? All right. Then they dipped. They bounced. So the fact that you even sat in front of Robin Roberts and said what you said, you need to know when to pull back. You have to, like, honestly, Armand, get ready to watch the rise and fall of Jussie Smollett, True Hollywood Story. This boy has 8 other siblings, Smollett siblings. I love all of them. But Jernee Smollett, she did Temptations with Tyler Perry. I don't even know what his older sister's thinking right now. Like, if you have the last name Smollett, you're doomed.
Well, no, because remember he said, which one is the other sister? I don't know which one it is, but he said one of his sisters.
Jernee Smollett.
Well, didn't he say that she was the Olivia Pope? Like, she was like his Olivia Pope.
But see, that's what I'm talking about.
So is she in on it too?
No, she's not. She's not. She hasn't. Only thing the family did was release a statement and say, we support our brother. That was, unfortunately, almost 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard from Jernee Smollett. I mean, honestly, Jernee Smollett is married. I suggest you drop the last name Smollett and change it to your husband's last name. That's his older sister. She's a beautiful girl. She did Tyler Perry's Temptations movie. I really feel bad for her, because I don't want this to mess up her career as well.
And I just have to be honest with you, because I know where you are, and I believe, and I don't know if you want me to put it out there. That's why I'm going to let you do it if you want to. We have about 1,400 people watching. People want to know, what is your connection? Like, how do you know this information? I think you are the one that told me you work in TV, but on a different side of it.
Yes, I work in the sports industry right now. I have a friend that works as one of the side makeup artists, works as a production on Empire.
Okay. Wow.
So Honestly,
So did your friend do the makeup?
Chicago.
Did your friend do the
No,
makeup?
she didn't do the makeup. No,
Okay.
she didn't do the makeup, but one of her colleagues is one of the makeup artists. So honestly, I mean, a lot of people are saying, I'm still hearing people saying, I still need all the information to come out. Many people are still saying they still want to hear all the information. But what confuses me is that what more do you need to hear? What more do you need to hear? If you have common sense, you can put two and two together. The only thing that hasn't quite been released yet, people don't know that that was not a beat-up session. It's a makeup session. People don't know that Lee Daniels is the mastermind behind all of this.
Good old Lee Daniels, boy, I tell you. Y'all know Lee Daniels is real petty. And he seems like the type of person who would definitely be behind something like this. If they don't cancel Empire altogether, Jussie definitely is going to be pulled out. They said, I think, the last 2 episodes of this current season, he's not going to be a part of it. I don't feel they would kill him. I don't know, but I feel like they want to see how this sorts out before they write him off to that extent. But we will see. I just don't know why they can't spend the same time, money, and attention on some of these other cases, the killings that happen, especially with our Black men. That's why I feel like it's all a hoax. Everyone's in on it. The police department, the people running for mayor. It's just a whole thing. There, we're just on the sidelines eating our popcorn. Keep your wits about you. Keep your eyes open, your ears open, and make sure you know what's going on. All right, so we're going to get into these cards and talk about this Chicago, Illinois situation. And I'm going to wrap it up. So we're here talking about Chicago. I pulled some cards and we're just going to talk about what came up. Chicago's represented by the Queen of Cups. And then this is the spread that was pulled. And the story behind the spread is this. Chicago was beautiful, creative, artistic, and intelligent, and also very rich in spirit. Business grew, families grew, populations grew. She wanted more still. More business, more expansion, more populace. New ideas inspired other cities. This is how big business was getting. There were powerful leaders that grew bigger and bigger. There were a lot of business deals, a lot of land deals, and real estate deals. The thing is, though, with this business is that it got so big and out of control because of the corruption. A lot of corruption. She had to make a truce with the power players. They were breaking the rules and disrespecting her with the corruption, the murders, crimes against humanity, organ trafficking, serial killing, sex and human trafficking, drugs, political crime and corruption, poverty, police corruption and brutality. She made a truce, but it was temporary. She began to feel unworthy from all the illegal and vile activities. She was at her lowest. Began to make sacrifices, taking care of everyone but herself, letting them ruin her. She finally surrendered to higher powers, asking for help, help to purge her of the vile, give her a fresh start. But the past couldn't be swept under the rug. It had to be dealt with. She had to give up one of her own. Robert Kelly is not the only perpetrator, but he would be the face. There's too much, so she had to just focus on one. Wants to get back to the beauty and the art and the innocence of the past. But there will be devastation first, with the effect of that of an earthquake. Something earth-shattering. There will be pure understanding and wisdom of the pitfalls due to the past mistakes, but not before betrayal and heartbreak. Chicago will once again be an artistic, thriving, booming city, but not in the same way that it was. It won't be the same. It'll transform. So where we are now is where she's dealing with the things of the past, allowing karma to come into play and take care of things. And that is Chicago. And that goes also for the outskirts, such as Rosemont, where Kanika Jenkins' murder took place. There is a heavy, it's no secret that Chicago is rife with crime, corruption, murder, but because everything is bubbling and everything seems to be taking over the media, it just really looks like it is heightened. It is not the only city in the world or in the U.S. even that is dealing with such crime, but I think the magnitude of it has been heightened because of the celebrity proponent. That celebrity aspect definitely puts another spin on everything, and it's fascinating for people to watch. So of course it's going to be first and foremost when it comes to a news story. It gets clicks, it gets views, which in turn creates advertising money and dollars. And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And that's how our society is run these days. But we don't know for how long. So like I always say, keep your humanity intact. Be safe out there. Have preparations in place for emergencies and natural disasters, because natural disasters aren't always that natural. I'm just saying there are, a lot of things that are going to take place this year that are not going to be very becoming to a new thriving lifestyle. So you might want to just, try to scale back some so you can put some things away. Make sure you have cash on hand in case of a bank failure, electricity failure. You can't use your debit card, can't use your credit cards, can't use your gas cards, things of that nature. But I'm going to leave this here. I know I covered a lot of stuff, and hopefully you stayed with me to the end. If you're still here, I appreciate you so much, as always. Thank you for coming to check me out. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Chicago and all the things that are happening and the different cases, such as the Smollett case and Robert Kelly. Do you think that the Lee Daniels is behind the whole thing, or do you think Jussie was just in this alone? Even the brothers don't have any type of consequence coming towards them. It doesn't look like at this moment. So do you think that's fair that Jussie is the only defendant in this case with 16 felony indictments? Let me know what you think. And we can always agree to disagree, of course, but just make sure you are respectful. Till next time. Peace.